You don't argue when you're hurt, you disappear. No yelling, no explaining, no drama, just silence. And the strange part, it's not even a decision. One moment you're okay, and the next, something inside you just shuts down. Someone looks at you and says, "What's wrong?" And you freeze. Your mind goes blank, your chest tightens, and suddenly, words feel impossible. Not because you don't have something to say, but because you can't reach it. If that's ever happened to you, don't scroll. Because what you're about to understand is something most people never realize about themselves. And it's going to change how you see your silence forever. Quick question. When you get hurt, do you go silent or do you react immediately? Type silent or react in the comments, because this right here is where everything starts. And if you stay until the end, you'll understand why your brain does this and how to stop fighting it and start using it. Most people think silence is a choice, like you decided to shut down, like it's calculated, controlled, intentional. But that's not what's happening. When you get hurt, something shifts inside your body, quietly, subtly, almost invisibly. Your chest tightens, your breathing changes, your thoughts slow down and scatter at the same time. And words just disappear. Not because you don't want to speak, but because your brain is doing something more important. It's protecting you. And that changes everything. Because this isn't personality, this is biology. Most people only know two responses: fight or flight. But there's a third one: freeze. When something feels too intense, too emotional, too overwhelming, your system doesn't explode, it shuts down. It slows everything. Your body becomes still, your mind turns inward, and your ability to speak gets reduced. Because your brain is prioritizing survival, not communication. So when someone tells you, "Just talk to me," and nothing comes out, that's not stubbornness. That's protection. Be honest with yourself for a second. Have you ever stood there wanting to explain but nothing came out? If yes, comment freeze, because people who don't experience this will never fully understand it. You weren't born like this, no one is. Kids don't hide their emotions, they express everything. They cry, they react, they feel out loud. Until something teaches them not to. At some point in your life, you learned something. That expressing your emotions had a cost. Maybe you were ignored. Maybe you were told you were too sensitive. Maybe you opened up and someone used it against you, or minimized it, or made you feel like your emotions were a problem. So your brain adapted, not by feeling less, but by protecting more. You didn't become silent, you became careful. Now here's what people don't see. Your silence is not empty, it's overloaded. While everything looks calm on the outside, your mind is running. Fast, deep, precise. You're replaying everything, analyzing every detail, trying to understand what exactly hurt me. Why did it hit me like this? What does this situation really mean? And what happens if I say the wrong thing? You're not avoiding the problem. You're processing it fully. Because for you, words matter. And here's something even deeper. Part of your silence is protection. Not just for you, for them. Because you know yourself. You know that if you speak too early, it won't be controlled. It will be raw. And once words are out, you can't take them back. So you wait, you regulate, you choose your moment. That's not weakness. That's emotional discipline. But here's the problem. From the outside, people don't see any of this. They just see silence. and they interpret it. They think you don't care. They think you're distant, so they push. Why won't you talk? Just say something. And the more they push, the more you close. Because pressure destroys safety, and without safety, you don't open. And this is where most people get stuck, because they never realize this next part. Silence can protect you, but it can also trap you. At first, it helps you process. But over time, if you stay silent too long, you stop expressing. You disconnect, you avoid, you isolate, and slowly, people stop understanding you. Not because they don't care, but because they don't know how to reach you anymore. So the goal is not to stop being silent, that's part of who you are. The goal is to understand your silence, to know when it protects you and when it limits you. Because your silence comes from depth, you feel deeply, you think deeply. And in a world full of reactions, that's rare. 1% habit. So here's your 1% shift, not a big change, not forcing yourself to talk, just one simple action. The next time you shut down, don't explain everything. Just say one sentence, I need time, I'll come back. That's it. 1% more communication, 1% more awareness. And that small shift changes everything. Because now, you're not shutting people out. You're letting them understand your process. Now I want you to answer honestly. Does your silence protect you? Or isolate you? Comment protect or isolate. Because this right here is the difference between staying stuck and actually evolving. You're not cold. You're not distant. You're not broken. You're someone who feels deeply, processes carefully, and speaks with intention. And that's not weakness. That's control. That's depth. That's precision. And once you understand it, you stop fighting yourself and start evolving 1% at a time. You don't go silent because you're weak. You go silent because something in you refuses to be fake. Because when you're hurt, you don't perform. You don't react just to react. You don't say things you don't mean. And that already sets you apart. But here's the part most people never see. That same silence can slowly turn into distance. Not because you don't care, but because you wait so long to come back that people stop waiting. And over time, you start being misunderstood, cold, distant, hard to read, when in reality, you're just processing deeper than most. So the goal isn't to stop being quiet, it's to evolve how you come back. That's your 1% habit, not forcing yourself to speak instantly, but returning just a little sooner than before. Explaining just a little more than you used to. Letting people understand you without betraying yourself. That's how you stay real without becoming distant. If this felt like you, comment real. Because the ones who relate to this feel everything deeply, but say very little. And that's rare. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Because the world will often misread your silence as a lack of confidence, when sometimes it's the opposite. And in the next video, we're breaking something most people get completely wrong: the difference between fake confidence and real confidence. Because once you understand that, you'll stop trying to act confident and start becoming it. I'll see you there.